Pollock Federal Prison, Louisiana, April 5th, 2006. Just another morning inside one of America's highest security facilities. Routine, controlled, predictable. Every inmate accounted for, except one. Where's McNair? No forced doors, no broken windows, no signs of struggle, just one missing inmate and a pile of outgoing mailbags. By the time the prison realized what happened, it was already too late. Richard Lee McNair had done the impossible. He escaped by hiding inside the mail, but here's the thing. This wasn't his first escape, or even his second. McNair wasn't just a criminal, he was a tactician. No weapons, no gang, no violence, just timing, precision, and a mind built for escape. Before the escapes, before the manhunts, before the headlines, Richard Lee McNair was just a kid from North Dakota. Born in 1958, raised in a working-class family. Nothing in his early years suggested he'd become one of America's most elusive fugitives. After high school, he joined the United States Air Force. He was intelligent, physically fit. By all appearances, a disciplined man serving his country. But beneath the surface, something was off. In 1987, everything changed. During a botched burglary, McNair shot and killed a man, a local named Jerry Thies. Whether it was panic or premeditation, we'll never fully know. But what's clear is that night turned McNair from a soldier into a lifer. He was convicted of murder and sentenced to life without parole. For most people, that's where the story ends. But Richard Lee McNair was not like most people. To him, life without parole wasn't a sentence. It was a challenge, and escaping, not once, not twice, but 3 times, he might became his obsession. His first move? Slip out of handcuffs, using lip balm. October 1987. Just days after his arrest for murder, Richard McNair sat cuffed to a heavy metal chair inside the Minot Police Department. 2 detectives stepped out of the room, briefly. What happened next didn't take hours. It took minutes. All he needed was lip balm. He greased up his wrist calmly, methodically, and somehow slid free of the cuffs, just like that. No violence, no struggle, just quick thinking, and the belief that he could get away. He walked through the building, past desks, past case files, past a vending machine, and out the front door. McNair had escaped police custody by then before even being transferred to prison. Within hours, the entire department was scrambling to find him. And they did. He was recaptured later that day, not far from the station. But that wasn't the real story. The real story was what this moment revealed. Richard Lee McNair wasn't just desperate. He was dangerous in a very different way. Because unlike most inmates, he could outthink the system. And this was only the beginning. 4 years later, in a maximum security penitentiary, he'd try again, but this time, he wasn't walking out the front door. He was crawling through the walls. 4 years passed. McNair was now locked up inside the North Dakota State Penitentiary, a far cry from the local police station he once walked out of. This was maximum security. Layers of concrete, steel doors, surveillance. But none of that mattered to him, because McNair didn't try to overpower the guards. He studied the prison itself, the walls, the routines, the flaws, and in 1992 he found one. The ventilation system. He realized the air ducts ran through areas that weren't fully monitored, and if he could just get inside, he could crawl his way to freedom. So he waited, watched, measured. Then one night he made his move. While other inmates were asleep or were pretending to be, McNair climbed up, slid into the shaft, and began inching his way through the prison's lungs. It wasn't glamorous. There were no Hollywood lasers or explosions. Just dust, sweat, and cold metal. But hours later, incredibly, he made it out. Another successful escape. And this time, he didn't get caught in a day, not a week. He was free for nearly 10 months, living under a fake name, working odd jobs, crossing borders, blending in. Until one day, Canadian police pulled him over for acting suspicious. They checked his papers. Something didn't feel right, so they dug deeper. And just like that, McNair was caught. But what they didn't realize was this. Even in handcuffs again, McNair was already thinking about his next move. And he was about to attempt something no one had ever tried before. Pollock, Louisiana, a high-security federal penitentiary. By now, Richard Lee McNair was considered high risk, twice escaped, a known manipulator, someone to watch closely. So the prison did what any logical system would do. They gave him a job in the mailroom. It sounds absurd. And in hindsight, maybe it was. But at the time, it seemed harmless, controlled. And McNair? He played the part. Quiet, cooperative, predictable. But behind the scenes, he was calculating every detail. He noticed the routine. Where the mail went, when it moved, who checked it, and who didn't. And slowly he began building something. A box, a customized coffin-sized compartment, hidden inside a pallet full of mailbags. From the outside, it looked like just another shipment of outgoing prison laundry. But inside, it was a human escape pod. He drilled tiny air holes, padded the inside with foam, made sure he could breathe, and wait. And on April 5th, 2006, he climbed inside. Then, nothing. He lay still, perfectly still, for hours. Eventually, the mail pallet was picked up by forklift, loaded onto a truck, driven straight out of prison Walton, without a single guard checking inside. By the time anyone realized he was missing, Richard McNair was already gone. But it gets even crazier. That same day, while on the run, a local police officer spotted him jogging near railroad tracks. McNair wasn't sweating. He wasn't panicked. He just smiled and said he was out for a run, a visiting construction worker. The officer believed him. No ID check, no search. McNair walked away, again, from law enforcement. He had escaped a federal prison, talked his way past a cop, and vanished. No gun, no gang, no violence, just planning and patience. And the manhunt was only just beginning. When Richard McNair disappeared from that Louisiana prison in 2006, the U.S. government didn't treat it like just another escape. This was a full-blown national embarrassment. The FBI was called in. U.S. Marshals joined the case. Canadian police were alerted. Border checkpoints were tightened. They didn't just want him back. They wanted to make sure this could never happen again. But McNair was 10 steps ahead. He didn't hide in the woods. He didn't bunk with old friends. He became someone else, again and again. He created fake IDs, false names, new backstories, and he moved, constantly. From Louisiana, he drifted north through the U.S., eventually crossing into Canada undetected. Along the way, he worked small jobs under fake identities. Nothing flashy, nothing risky, just enough to stay invisible. But McNair couldn't resist a little flair. He started sending letters to newspapers, to law enforcement, mocking them, correcting their reports, even complimenting their effort. It was taunting, but intellectual. More like a game of chess than a criminal on the run. One letter ended with a single line. Still free. Still happy. Still healthy. To the public, he became a myth. To law enforcement, he was a ghost. Every sighting was questioned, every photo blurred. He had no pattern, no weakness, only one defining feature. He refused to be caught. And for nearly a year, he wasn't. October 24th, 2007. New Brunswick, Canada. It had been over 500 days since Richard McNair vanished from a federal prison in the United States. But on that quiet autumn afternoon, it all came to an end. Not with a SWAT team or a high-speed chase, but with one observant police officer. RCMP Constable Dan Mellinson was on routine patrol when he spotted a man walking along a railway line near Nash Creek, alone, carrying a backpack, looking out of place. Mellinson stopped to talk. The man gave a name. It didn't match the ID. Then came the moment the officer asked again. Slower this time, more directly. There was a pause, and then McNair looked him in the eye and said, "You got me. No running, no fight, no lip balm or vent shafts." Just 3 words that closed the case. When they searched his bag, they found multiple fake IDs, a wig, survival gear, and maps. Everything a fugitive might need, except a new escape plan. McNair was finally caught. He was returned to the United States, not to a regular prison, but to the ADX Florence Supermax in Colorado, a facility nicknamed the Alcatraz of the Rockies. 24-hour lockdown, no mailroom, no vent shafts, no jogging trails, and no second chances. Since then, Richard Lee McNair has remained exactly where he never wanted to be. Locked in. How did Richard Lee McNair escape 3 times? Without violence, without help. Simple. He outsmarted the system. He studied routines, noticed flaws, planned everything. From slipping cuffs with lip balm, to hiding in a mail pallet, to casually walking past a cop with a fake name and a smile. It wasn't strength. It was patience, charm, and cold strategy. The FBI called him one of the smartest escape artists in modern history, but eventually, even he slipped up. Now he's in a supermax prison, no way out. Still clever, still calm, but done running. 3 escapes, no weapons. One man who exposed cracks in the system and made us all wonder, was he a genius or just lucky? And in today's age of AI and surveillance, could anyone ever pull it off again? You decide. Would you have caught him? Or would you have let him jog right past?